Hi, are you thinking of moving to the Salida, Colorado area? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 things you might not know about living in this area. And you're going to want to stick around until the end because I offer an insight that I didn't even figure out until I lived here for a few years. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. This channel is all about living in the Salida, Colorado area and the real estate market here. So if that interests you, please be sure and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you're the first to know when new informative videos become available. My name is McCarthy, and I'm a realtor that specializes in Salida, Colorado and surrounding areas. And I get calls all the time from people just like you looking to move here. So whether you're thinking of moving here in a few weeks or a few months, please reach out to me. All of my contact information is below. I'd be happy to schedule a time to chat and help you make a smooth transition to the Salida, Colorado area. Let's talk about 5 things that you might not know about living in the Salida, Colorado area. Now, Salida, Colorado, for those of you who might not know, I'll go over it really quickly, is a small rural mountain town in southern Colorado. We have about 6,000 residents. We are really close to a lot of outdoor options, Monarch Mountain, and we have the Arkansas River go through town. We're a creative arts district and a designated historic district, so we have a really quaint downtown area, and it's just a lovely little place to live. But one thing you might not know when you move here is how easy it is to actually meet people here. So I talk to people who are looking to move here a lot, and that is one question particularly. I've helped a few people who moved out here who are single and, they're not moving here with a family or a partner. And so they want to know, how easy is it to meet friends here? They're kind of starting over and they want to get acclimated into the community. And I always tell people it's surprisingly easy. So because we're a smaller town, that helps because you can often run into the same people over and over again and establish a relationship with them and get to see them. But in addition to that, there are a lot of activities here. So if you're into something, if you're into mountain biking or rafting or running, I know when I first moved here, I joined the run club, and that's actually how I met a lot of the first friends when I moved here. And there's a lot of nonprofits here. So like the Ark Valley Humane Society, I volunteered with them when I first moved here. There's a lot of other nonprofits as well. So if you're into something, it's really easy to join a group or volunteer for a nonprofit or even start your own group and invite people to come along, and then just kind of find your people and find the people who have similar interests as you. I kind of equate moving to Salida as when you go to college and you already have a lot in common with many of the people you go to college with, particularly if you're at a smaller school, and just by the fact that you chose that school. And so Salida tends to draw people with similar interests, and so I find that it's pretty easy to find people that have similar interests as you and then form a friendship with them. And we also have several Facebook groups, so whether like Facebook or not, there are a lot of community Facebook groups where you can join. And then I've seen people just put up posts to say, hey, I'm new here, I'm interested in XYZ, who would like to get together for, a hike or to whatever, do this book club. So come up, fill in the blank with what you're interested in. Be willing to maybe put yourself out there a little bit to make friends, and I promise you'll be able to find some connections with people in this area. I even interviewed for my podcast a retiree who's talked about how she got out of her comfort zone a little bit when she first moved here and joined a bunch of groups and was able to meet a lot of people in various activities. One of her big activities is pickleball. There's a really big pickleball community here. And so that was a great way for her to meet people. So if you're interested in that podcast, please listen to that. Okay, another thing that I didn't know about until I moved here was the access to fresh produce. So there's a lot of access to local produce. There's a lot of farmers in the Arkansas River Valley and surrounding valleys around here who provide a lot of local produce. Obviously, this is season dependent, but we have a lot of amazing stuff all throughout summer and into fall. There's also artisans and a lot of locally produced goods like bakeries and that sort of thing, of people who come to our winter's market. So all throughout summer, from June through October, we have a farmer's market where there's a lot of local produce available. And then we also have a winter's market all throughout the winter as well. And then we also have a lot of farmers who sell their produce throughout the year and even outside of the farmer's market, like the Triangle Oasis or Rocky Mountain Garlic. There's also a company called Valley Roots Food Hub that can deliver produce and goods that are sourced from local farmers in the valley. So I was really surprised when I moved here to have access to such amazing food like that, even though we are in a rural mountain area. area. And this is all in addition to the grocery stores that we obviously have here. We have a Natural Grocers and a Safeway and Walmart in Salida, and then there's more than that in the BV area as well. So the third thing you might not know about when you move here is the benefit of having access to the outdoors. So that's a huge draw. I talk about it all the time, how the abundant outdoor options by living in the Salida, Colorado area, and why that's a draw to moving here. But once you're here, I think it's important to also point out the wellness, fitness, and health benefits, and also happiness benefits of being so close to the outdoors, because you can easily just go for a bike ride or go on a trail or go by the river out your front door, depending on where you live here. We have all of this access to the outdoors. So you can be outside of town very, very quickly and just be immersed in nature, in that quiet, that beautiful, serene feeling that we all know just helps all of the happiness hormones in our body, that regulates our nervous system, that we get sunshine on our face, we get that movement, all of the health benefits that we all know about. That's easy to do here. So you're choosing a place where you have easy access to a lifestyle that we know will help with your wellness and fitness and happiness. So that's just an added benefit of living here that I don't think I quite realized when I first moved here. But even just going to a place like Denver or another city where there is a good outdoor lifestyle there are things to do. It's not to the same degree as it is here, particularly the access to the true raw nature outdoors that we have here. There's something to be said about that, and I think it holds just a lot of value for you. So another thing you might not know about living in Salida is we have no school on Fridays. So obviously this matters quite a bit if you have a school-aged child, but even if you don't, I know when I first moved here, I was surprised to see a lot of kids out and about on Fridays. There's also people who work a little bit less on Fridays, not to say that businesses shut down, but things feel a little bit more lax on Fridays. We do have an organization called the Boys and Girls Club that offers childcare for kids ages 6 and up on Fridays and also on some holidays. And so that's an option for many parents. And then if you've got kids younger than 6, then you got to kind of get creative and figure it out. And so just as a community, school is closed on Fridays. And I do think that kind of changes the atmosphere here and the lifestyle here. And it's just really important to know before you move here. Okay, and number 5 is to keep the seasons in mind. If you're coming from a place where you don't have a lot of seasons, we definitely have seasons here. So our summer is quite full and it's the busiest time of year here for tourists. And you know, our river is flowing. We've got wildflowers. All of that starts around June and goes through about Labor Day. And then we have a beautiful fall here. I feel like fall is probably one of the most underrated seasons in the Salida area, just because we still have those warm days like we did in the summer, maybe not quite as warm, and it gets cooler a little bit earlier, but it's still very nice out. And the trees are starting to change to golden, particularly the aspen trees. And then we get cottonwood trees that change a little bit later. So that all happens about September, late September, early October, and then the cottonwood trees through October. And then we shift into more winter months. Our winter time can be mid-November all the way through about February, March. And so that's a period of time where, you know, we usually get a good amount of snow. Monarch Mountain tends to open. It always depends on the year and the snowfall, but that tends to open at the end of November or the beginning of December, depending on the year. And so you see a lot more locals going towards the beginning of the season, and then obviously people coming from out of town, particularly around the holidays. And so you've got skiing those first few months of the year and winter. And then by around March, when people have spring break in other states, a lot more people are coming here in March. Now, I've noticed in recent years after living here that people in Salida tend to leave around spring break time in March and go to other places, because by that point they're kind of over the cold and it's nice to go a week in Mexico or something like that if you can pull it off. I've learned this trick over recent years. That's my bonus. If you live here year round and you're here for many years, you might want a little bit of a break from the cold by maybe February, March, and then come back. Now, April tends to be a bit windier than I think some people anticipate. And so we do have a windier season here, in that transition from winter to summer. Our springs tend to be chilly, sometimes rainy, and sometimes windier. So keep that in mind if you are coming out here and trying to find a good time to visit. And then also just understanding, you know, what's available to you outdoors wise, and getting the right gear and making choices around what you can do to appreciate this area as much as possible based on the seasons. I think as long as you have proper expectations and proper gear, you can enjoy the outdoors all year round. And just to kind of keep how those seasons change in mind, I think makes living here a lot easier. Okay, so if you're watching this and you live in the Salida, Colorado area, please leave me a comment. I'd be curious to know what you would add as a must know or something that people might not have expected when they move here. Please share your comments below. I'm curious. And if you're interested in moving to the Salida, Colorado area, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to schedule a time to chat and be a resource for you. Either way, thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.